Greetings everyone, this is the Ambassador coming at you with a brand new video today, and today is a work video. And as the title card and everything else indicate, I will be doing my review of Final Fantasy VII, the remake. And to give you a little bit of background, I have been a long-time gamer. I have been since I was a kid in the 1980s with my uncle's Atari 2600. I have been a gamer. I have loved video games and loved seeing the evolution of them. And this year, we got a remake, a reimagining of a iconic title, Final Fantasy VII. Now, I will tell you all, in the late 90s, I did not have a PS1. I did not get a PS1 well into the 2000s. But Final Fantasy VII was one that everybody and their uncle, no pun intended, suggested that I get and that I play. And I will tell you all, the original is epic. Now, granted, the graphics compared to what we have now were not the greatest, but for us in the late 90s, the graphics were stellar. We had not seen anything like this, and particularly considering, coming from my background as a kid and everything with a little Atari 2600, what we got with the PS1 and with Final Fantasy VII was nothing short of amazing. Now, we have the gaming community, and I consider myself part of that community, has been chomping at the bit for years. Ever since the PS3, we thought, oh, is this going to be the one where we finally get the remake of Final Fantasy VII? And finally, Square Enix and the good people and everything at Sony finally brought us the remake we had all been waiting for. And I will tell you all right here and now, back in May, I talked with Madam Ambassador, and we were talking, what are we going to get each other for our anniversary gift? Because we celebrated our 5-year anniversary back in May. And I said, honey, there's only one thing I really want aside from time with you. And everything. She's like, what's that? I was like, I want the remake of Final Fantasy VII. Because my wife, Madam Ambassador, is just as much of a gamer as I am. And she's like, well, honey, if that's what you want, get it. And I was like, I want to get the deluxe edition. She's like, do it. We got the money, do it. So I got the deluxe edition that had all the extra downloadable content and everything. I got it, and it took the better part of a day to download the whole file and everything. But once I downloaded it, once I got time to sit down and play it, I pretty much, for several hours a day, I was in front of our big screen TV, our flat screen TV, playing this puppy. And I will tell you folks right here and now, Final Fantasy Remake, and I know a lot of people have reviewed this game, have done guides on this game and everything else under the sun. This is just me adding my own little contribution to that content. Final Fantasy VII, the remake, it was worth the wait. Considering, looking back at the original and looking at what we've got in this, it was worth the wait. Because the people at Square Enix, they poured their time and their passion and their energy into this remake. Now, I have heard some criticism that the ending of the game is somewhat different from the original, but personally, and here's the thing, this is only the first part of the game. We've got 2 more parts coming to us. Everything. I don't know when parts 2 and 3 are going to be released or anything. As soon as I know something, I will tweet it out to y'all if y'all don't know already. And if you do know, comment below. Let me know, because I'm chomping at the bit. Everything for the next 2 parts. Because if y'all remember, the original, it all came at once. We didn't have digital download or anything like that back in the 90s and everything. We didn't have the technology to do it yet. But getting into the game itself, this is a faithful retelling of that story. You've got Cloud Strife, the cocky, arrogant, standoffish merc, ex-soldier. You've obviously got Barrett, the loudmouth, one-armed Gatling gun tank. You've got the rather shapely Tifa Lockhart. And of course, you've got the ever endearing and very, very charming and very sassy Aerith Gainsborough. And I will tell you all right now, the main characters, the side characters, even the villains, they all latch on to you and they really suck you into this game. And from the moment go, this game just it builds the world. You have that very iconic go sweep and everything through the city. You see Aerith there in the back alley and everything, and she's looking at the leaking pipe that's got. I know it's pronounced Mako, but I always pronounced it Mako. Kind of like the actor and everything from the Conan the Barbarian Conan movies and everything. Mako energy that's seeping out of the pipe, and then of course you have her, and then you have the zoom out, and you see the city of Midgar. And I will tell you, the cinematics, the graphics, it's beautiful. It's like I know a lot of people have said this about other games, and they were true. But this game is almost like a work of art. It's beautiful to look at as well as play, because you're spending so much time doing the gameplay, but you can pause this and just look at the graphics and everything of the gameplay. You're like, geez, this is so in depth. This is so beautiful. This is so immersive. I think is a good word here. And I will tell you, folks, I have clocked well over 120 some odd hours into this game, because I played through the normal difficulty. I have not played through the classic or the easy. I am working on the hard, and I will tell you folks right now, this game on hard, it is a beast to beat. I am at the end. I'm in the second to last chapter of the sucker, and I am the bosses, even the regular side battles. They are a beast to get through. You have got to have a good strategic mind. It does help if you go watch the videos of people that have done breakdowns of how to best combat these different bosses and different creatures and everything in the game. And one other thing that they have added that I honestly love is the arena tournament in Wall Market. And I will tell you, folks, for those of you that are not familiar with Final Fantasy VII or any of the Final Fantasy titles, this game, it takes time to play. It really does and everything. Now, you can either sit down and marathon through it if you so choose, or you can break it up into chunks. And I will say this, the save system is solid. You can save pretty much wherever you want to save. The only thing is when you get towards the end, when you get into back-to-back battles, you don't really have an opportunity to save. So if you don't beat both bosses back-to-back, guess what? You've got to go back and fight that first boss to get to the second boss, and that's right now where I'm at. Now, just a heads up, there will be spoilers for this and everything, so if you have not played it, I know I'm about 8 minutes in, but I'll put this in the spoilers. This will be a spoiler-filled review of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. Game starts out, for those of you that aren't familiar, with the first mission to destroy the first Mako reactor. I was trying to stay accurate to the game. And the gameplay is so fluid. It is so... I think fluid's a good word. We'll just stick with that. It's not glitchy. It's not clunky. It flows. And you learn. This is a combat system that you can pick up on very quickly. Not to mention, they have really streamlined the materia system, equipping it on your characters, which materia is best for which character, and so on. And regardless of your gameplay style, every character is easy to work with and function with. Cloud is obviously our sword-wielding character. Barret is our ranged character. You've got Tifa, who is your close combat, kind of like Cloud, and of course you've got Aerith, who is your magic or your sorceress and everything, your magic wielder. And every one of their games, every one of their fighting styles really has an organic feel to it. There's nothing glitchy. It's very now one thing it's not it doesn't feel artificial. Now here's something I did learn and everything as I was watching the credits, because I did watch the credits to see if there was any little extra Easter eggs or if there was any after credit scenes or anything like that. They use mocap, motion capture, for the characters, which I really appreciate and everything, the fact that they were able to do this. Because if you all remember, for those of you that remember the original game, they really obviously didn't have that type of technology at their grasp and everything for gaming. But with this game, the characters, they have a organic feel, like they really exist in the space in which they're moving, and the controls and everything are so fluid. I know I've used that word before, but it's so smooth. It's almost seamless and everything. You hit a button and the attack goes out, or when they move just in the spaces, everything in between battles and missions and what have you. And I'll say this: the world of Midgar, the city, it is huge. It has size. It has scale to it. And you spend the first part of this game and everything, this first installment in Midgar, and you work yourself from the outskirts all the way to Shinra corporate headquarters, and even that part is immense. There is real size and real scope to this first part of the game, and considering the price, which the price isn't bad if you get the deluxe edition. If you can drop $80 and everything to get the deluxe edition, I highly recommend it, because you get a couple of extra summons characters, you get the digital art book, and you do get the soundtrack. And I will tell you all right now, it's worth the money, because with the digital art book, it gives you a look into them going back to the drawing board with the design for each of the characters, and not just the main characters, but all of the creatures that you fight and all the other side characters that you'll interact with, like Jesse and Wedge and Biggs. And I do like the callback to Star Wars or anything, because Wedge and Biggs or anything were two of Luke's closest friends from Rogue Squadron in Star Wars. But even the side characters, they play their part. They have their moments and everything where you really get to feel like, yeah, this is a digital character on your TV screen or on your PC screen or whatever way you decide to play this. But at the same time, you develop a emotional attachment to these characters. And that's true of the main characters as well, with Cloud, with Barrett, with Tifa, and with Aerith. And you do get to I know some people have made a nitpick about this, and I can understand. It's a justified nitpick. You do meet Red 13 and everything towards the latter half of the game. And I'll say this. I watched and I own a copy of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, which was a sequel to the game. I don't know if they were able to get all the voice actors back and everything from that movie to do the voices for this game, but if they got the same actors and voice actors and actresses back, or they got very good approximations, because I remember how those characters sounded in that movie. And the characters in this game sound almost exactly this. They sound very close, if not exactly the same. And not only that, the design of the characters and everything very much falls in line with that animated sequel and everything to the game that they released several years ago. Now, of course, our heroes cannot be heroes without great villains, and let's be candid here. You've got great villains. You've got great creatures to combat against. You've got mechs of every size and type. You've got humanoid opponents to fight against. You've got Shinra's private army and all their different um, detachments and everything that you can fight against. You've got ground based, you've got air based, and everything else out of the sun. But of course, you've got probably one of the greatest video game villains ever put to digital code, Sephiroth, the one-winged angel. And I'll tell you, folks, if you thought Sephiroth was menacing in the original game, if you've not played it already, buckle up, Buttercup. Because the Sephiroth we get in this game is 10 times as menacing, and the guy that does the voice for Sephiroth, he bleeds menacing. He bleeds atmosphere. He absolutely sucks you in and says, I am the person that you fear. I am the thing that you love to hate. I have come here, and he, even though he doesn't have a lot of screen time in the game, in the moments that he is on screen, you're in a manner of speaking, you're petrified. You're like, this is not going to be an easy fight. And you get, I think, you get one really good fight with him, but at the end of it, you feel like you've been in a sword fight with this guy. And the music and everything, the piece that they wrote for it, called simply One-Winged Angel. When it kicks in during the final battle between Cloud and the rest of the team and Sephiroth, it's epic. It is absolutely, positively epic. But getting into a little more of the mechanics of the game. Now, I'll tell y'all, I am not the most knowledgeable on gaming mechanics. I just know what I know from playing a lot of video games throughout my lifetime and everything. But I will tell you, these are some of the most cohesive and well put together combat mechanics for a game that I have played in a very long time. And I've played a lot of games. I mean, the only combat system that I think is better, or maybe just as good, is the combat system from Skyrim. And that's a high mark and everything, because that's Bethesda's baby right now. Until we get the final, Elder Scrolls 6, whatever that's going to entail. And I'll tell you, folks, right now, I'm waiting. I'm chomping at the bit. Have been for years now for Elder Scrolls 6, because I want to see if they can top themselves. Because let's be candid here. Just very brief aside. Skyrim, it's a high mark. And yes, I still play Skyrim to this day. Love that game. Love it, love it, love it. Anyway. Back to Final Fantasy VII. One other part of this game that I really enjoyed, besides the tournament and the court and Wall Market and everything, was the virtual reality missions where you get to unlock extra summons. And there, I haven't unlocked all of them yet because some of the intel missions that you have to go through and everything to unlock all of the summons, they're not easy. They are a challenge, and I think that's one of the great things about this game. I'm on, like I said, folks, I'm on my second playthrough on hard difficulty. I'm probably going to have to go back to like normal difficulty to complete all of the intel missions so I can get all of the summons materia. And I'll tell you right now, the summons like Ifrit and Shiva and the Fat Chocobo and the Mongol and the Chocobo, the regular size Chocobo, they have such character, and they're even the fierce looking ones like Ifrit and Leviathan and Bahamut. They've got character to them. These aren't just static characters and everything standing on a screen attacking beside your main characters. They have character. They feel virtually real. Let's put it that way. And their attacks, they are unique and they are beautiful and they're gorgeous to look at, especially when the summons timer runs out and they go into their ultimate attack, and you just sit back for a moment and you appreciate the ferocity of their final ultimate attack, especially with Ifrit and Shiva, and with the other summon materia that you have as well. As far as the combat system, I know I've talked about it a little bit, but I want to go a little more in depth. And folks, just a fair warning, this will be a slightly longer review because there's a lot here to unpack, and I don't want to do a short shrift or anything and not give you my full thoughts on this game. Whether you are playing as Cloud or any of the other main characters, the combat system and everything, if you are a lover of swinging a big massive sword with Cloud, you get plenty of that. And the really cool thing about this is he's got 2 fight modes. He's got Operator and he's got Punisher. And personally, I like the Operator fight style and everything because it's got a much more fluid and a much more dynamic movement to it. But I will tell you and everything, one particular character that I really enjoy, and it's not because of her appearance, but because of her fighting style, and that's Tifa. Because Tifa is your boxer, she is your kickboxer, because that's her fighting style, in a matter of speaking. But if you set her up with the right materia, she can be a real powerhouse, and not only that, she can be a great healer. Something that I have done with Tifa is I have equipped her with the prayer materia, which obviously for those of you that may be familiar with Final Fantasy, prayer materia helps heal your team, and her ATB bars fill up very quickly and everything during combat, particularly if you put the certain materia on her. I think one in particular that's called is First Strike, and she deals damage, and when you get both ATB bars filled up, you can do that prayer ability, and it heals your team and everything. Now, I will say Aerith and everything, she's a great character to control and play with and everything because her magic attacks and everything are so potent and so powerful. And when it's just her and Cloud in certain parts of the game, and you've just got the 2 of them fighting alongside one another, they work very well together. The thing is, you get time with every single character. It's not just you and Cloud the whole way through. You'll get time with Cloud and Barret, or you'll get time with Cloud and Tifa, or you'll get time with Tifa and Barret, or whatever the case may be. You even get towards the end, you get a fight with Barret and Aerith, which is a lot of fun and everything because you've got this very brash, very loudmouth character in Barret. And I'll tell you folks right now, this game is not for children because there is a lot of swearing, particularly on Barrett's part, and to a lesser extent on Cloud's part. So that's just a quick heads up. Now, there's nothing like extremely profane, but they do drop the S-bomb. They do drop on so many occasions you can almost do a drinking game. Somebody said crap, take a shot. Not that I would actually do that, but a little joke. The other really cool thing about this is the story immerses you. You really feel like you're a part of this story. This is something that you can empathize with. And not only that, you see the consequences of your actions throughout the game. And it really poses a moral question. Is the group Avalanche, that is Barret and Tifa and Wedge and Jesse and Biggs, and obviously it's a larger organization, is what they're doing right? And to a degree, what they're doing is right because they are trying to preserve the life of the planet because they see that the planet is slowly dying. But at the same time, you see the cost of their actions and everything throughout different parts of the game. And there are a couple of very hard-hitting moments and everything. In particular, I think it's in Chapter 7 or Chapter 8, where you go up against the Turks, Reno and Rude. And I'll tell you right now, Reno is such a cocky little peacock that you just want to reach through the screen and slap the ever-loving crap out of him. But Rude is very calm and smooth, and he's got a coolness to him, I won't lie, and everything. But there is one mission and everything where you may have beaten the bad guys, but you ultimately failed the mission because for those of you that might remember and everything from the original game, when plate 7 drops, a lot of people unfortunately die. And it really just, it makes your heart sink. You fought so hard for so long and you came up that much short. And you see the aftermath of the plate falling and everything. And there's even, there are pauses in the combat. The missions aren't all just hack and slash and blast the bad guy. Some of them are simply going through Midgar and seeing what has happened in the aftermath of what you've done in a previous mission. And I think that was a great move. It was a great decision on the part of Square Enix and everything to include segments of the game like this, because you do need to catch your breath because the combat is so intense and everything, particularly with the boss battles and just honestly, every battle seems big and everything in a matter of speaking, but the boss battles are so heavy and so intense that they give you time to catch your breath during the game. And I think that was a great move. It creates a balance within the game. So, but, that all being said, folks, I highly, if I haven't said it already, I highly recommend that you go pick up this game if you haven't already. And if you can't get the full deluxe edition, the regular edition is just as good. You're not gonna miss out on any gameplay, really, or anything. One other thing I did want to mention, and I may have mentioned this in part, there are some side missions where you interact with a character called Chadley, and he's a research intern for Shinra. And he's actually working against Shinra and everything to bring the company down. And you go on these virtual reality missions where you put on these VR goggles or anything, which look very much something like we would have today. And that's where you unlock the different summons and everything, like Shiva and Ifrit and Leviathan and Bahamut and all the others. And those are a lot of fun too and everything, because if you beat that particular summons, you get them, which I think is a nice way of bringing the summons into the game. And you don't use the summons all the time. They only pop up during the really hard, difficult battles. And I think that was a very good move on the part of Square Enix. So, but anyways, folks, those are my thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Remake. If you have played through it, let me know down below in the comments what you thought of it, if you enjoyed it, what you did like, what you didn't like, what you're looking forward to. And as I said, if any of you know when the next parts are going to be coming out, let me know. I'm chomping at the bit for the next bunch. Quick update on the channel and everything, and some other projects I'm going to be working on. This Wednesday night, I'll be continuing my review series with my friend Kathia Starr on her channel of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We'll be talking about the episode called Angel. Also, this Friday night at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, I'll be over on Orange Hat Reviews channel, and I'll be a part of one of his Versus streams and everything panels, and we'll be discussing who would win a fight between two great Dark Lords of the Sith. Darth Vader, obviously, and Darth Malgus from Star Wars The Old Republic. So be sure to tune in for that. And then this Saturday night, as I have mentioned on a few other streams I've been on, we're going to be doing something different, and this will be something I'm going to be doing over the next several months. This will be some new content for the channel. I'm going to be hosting my very first watch party, and we're going to kick this one off with a great 90s classic, a movie that I absolutely have loved for years. We're going to be watching Tombstone, starring Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, Powers Booth, Michael Biehn, Bill Paxton, I think Kim Delaney, and of course, no movie is not complete without Billy Zane. So be sure to tune in for that. And until next time, folks, y'all have a great day. God bless. And until next time, this is the Ambassador signing off.